In the early 20th century, polio was a terrifying global epidemic. It paralyzed and killed thousands of people, leaving communities in fear. For many who contracted the disease, survival came in the form of a life-saving yet restrictive machine, the iron lung. This is Paul Alexander, one of the last people in the world to rely on an iron lung to breathe. Known as the man in the iron lung, Paul's journey is one of extraordinary resilience, strength, and hope. In the 1940s and 50s, polio was one of the most feared diseases in the United States. It struck without warning, especially in the summer months, crippling thousands of children and adults. The virus spread quickly, often leaving people paralyzed or dependent on machines to breathe. The outbreak terrified families and created chaos across the nation. Before the polio vaccine was introduced, entire hospital wards were filled with iron lungs. These mechanical life support machines were the only option for those who could no longer breathe on their own. The iron lung was a symbol of the fear and devastation brought by polio. These machines were often the only thing that stood between life and death. Paul Alexander grew up in Dallas, Texas. He was a bright and active 6-year-old, full of energy and dreams. But in the summer of 1952, his world was turned upside down. At the height of one of the worst polio outbreaks in U.S. history, Paul contracted the virus. It quickly paralyzed him from the neck down. He lost the ability to breathe on his own, and doctors feared he wouldn't survive. Paul's parents refused to give up. With no other options, they placed him in an iron lung. This mechanical respirator became his lifeline, his only way to survive. The iron lung would become Paul's home for the next 70 years. It was a cruel irony. This machine, designed to keep him alive, would also confine him to a limited world. "When I got polio, everything changed. The iron lung became my world," Paul recalled. So how does an iron lung work? Developed in the late 1920s by Dr. Philip Drinker, the iron lung works by creating negative pressure around the body. The machine is a large cylindrical chamber that surrounds the patient's body, leaving only their head exposed. By lowering the air pressure inside the chamber, the chest expands, drawing air into the lungs. This mimics the act of breathing, helping the patient to inhale and exhale when their body cannot. The iron lung was a revolutionary invention for its time. It allowed polio survivors to breathe without the use of an oxygen mask or invasive tubes. However, these machines were far from perfect. They were large, cumbersome, and entirely dependent on electricity. Yet, for patients like Paul, the iron lung was a life-sustaining device that kept them alive when no other option existed. Despite the immense challenges of living in an iron lung, Paul didn't just survive, he thrived. Determined to live a meaningful life, he taught himself to write and draw using a pencil in his mouth. His resilience and determination became a beacon of hope. Paul refused to let his disability define him. "People told me, 'You can't do this. You're in an iron lung.' But every no only made me want it more," Paul said. Against all odds, Paul graduated from law school. He defied the expectations placed on him and went on to become an attorney. His achievements were not just a testament to his willpower. They were proof that the human spirit could overcome even the most severe challenges. Paul's story became an inspiration to countless others, showing that determination could triumph over adversity. Each day for Paul was an intricate routine of care, patience, and strength. Living in an iron lung meant that his body had to be constantly monitored. He relied on a dedicated team of caregivers and friends who helped with his daily needs, from feeding and cleaning to maintaining the iron lung itself. Despite these limitations, Paul remained active, engaging with the world in every way he could. Maintaining an iron lung was no small task. With most of the parts no longer manufactured, Paul and his friends had to innovate, scavenging for replacement parts and even modifying the machine to keep it running. The care and effort that went into keeping the iron lung functional were immense. It was a symbol of the dedication of the people who supported Paul, ensuring that he could continue to live his life. As medical technology advanced, iron lungs became obsolete. More modern ventilators, smaller and more efficient, took their place. For most polio survivors, these newer machines offered more freedom and mobility. However, for Paul, the iron lung remained the most effective option for breathing. While iron lungs became relics of the past, Paul's unique medical needs made transitioning to newer devices difficult. He continued to rely on the iron lung even as they became rarer and harder to maintain. For Paul, the iron lung was not just a machine, it was a part of his identity. It had kept him alive for over 70 years, and in a way, it had become his partner in survival. In his later years, Paul became an author. He shared his life story, his struggles, and his triumphs with the world. His memoir was more than just an autobiography, it was a message of resilience. Paul's words became an inspiration for anyone facing hardship. He reminded the world that strength is not defined by what the body can do, but by the power of the human spirit. My life isn't about what I can't do, it's about what I can do. And that's how I've chosen to live every single day, Paul said. Paul's message resonated with millions. He became a symbol of perseverance, teaching others that even in the most challenging circumstances, it is possible to live with purpose and hope. His life serves as a powerful reminder that strength comes from within, and that we can always choose to rise above adversity. On March 13, 2024, Paul Alexander passed away at the age of 78. After spending more than 70 years in an iron lung, his journey came to an end. His passing marked the end of an era, but his legacy lives on. Paul's life story touched countless hearts around the world. His unwavering resilience and courage inspired people from all walks of life. Paul's legacy serves as a reminder that no matter how great the challenge, we can choose to live our lives with purpose, courage, and unwavering hope.